Hi, I'm Todd W.A.M. Welcome to another episode of Todd's H.E.L.P, which is the coaching system that I put together. Todd's H.E.L.P is really about what helped Todd over the last 30 years to get where I wanted to go, and I've been blessed beyond measure, and I want to share that with you. It's also about what Todd can help you with. That's what Todd's H.E.L.P is all about. Now today, I'm going to refer back to the previous episode I talked to you all about to envision yourself being on an island and having to coexist with a tribe called B.I.G. And if you recall, B.I.G is an acronym that stands for BIG. B.I.G is banks, insurance companies, government. W.A.M is Wall Street, attorneys, and medical expenses. Now, B.I.G on that island, they wake up every day and the goal is for them to get your possessions, okay? Now, they provide services, but they have to provide profits for their stockholders. So I've always said you've got to identify the enemy, so to speak, and then you can build a plan, because the problem with it is that B.I.G, if you don't understand how they work and how money works and cash flow, then they're gonna make excessive profits on you. They provide services, we need them, and so forth, but the bottom line is you've got to have a plan. Today I'm going to talk about, we'll begin at the beginning, which is a good place to start, right? Banks. So today we'll talk about banks. We need banks. We borrow money when we get started and so forth. But I'm going to share a story with you to prove this point and to give you an idea of what I'm talking about and how Money Help can help you, and that the team that we work with can help you. I'm going to refer to a client, a friend of mine that I met recently, and we're going to refer to them as Fred and Wilma. Okay? So Fred and Wilma, this is how they were set up. They had, because they were raised in the same world we are, paid off their house. Their house was paid. But they owed money on, they had about $8,000 to $10,000 of credit card debt, give or take. They had vehicle notes. They had camper notes. So the bottom line is we brought to their attention that the way that they were positioned was not maximum efficient. They weren't taking advantage of what they could, because what I'm going to illustrate to you is there's good debt and bad debt. We explained to them what a home equity loan was, a HELOC, okay? They weren't aware of that. And these are very intelligent, hardworking people, and you realize that we're so busy doing what we're doing, we don't have time to look in and learn things financially speaking. So what we suggested is that they took a home equity loan, a loan against the house, and because the home is an appreciating asset, the bank lends you the money at a very low interest, and that you can pay it back over a longer period of time or a faster period of time. They were able to consolidate and pay off all that other consumer debt, okay, and lower their interest rates. Now, what that enabled them to do is to then apply that money toward the HELOC, pay it off faster. You know, there's a difference between good debt and bad debt. When you owe money on a home, for example, that appreciates over time, that's different from owing money on what I call a consumer asset. Let's use an example of a depreciating asset like a car, okay? And even worse than that, a credit card that has no asset to back the loan. That's going to be the highest interest rates, right? That's the way it works. So just that simple maneuver on the financial chessboard, okay, makes a big difference. So for Fred and Wilma, it means they're going to get to the freedom point earlier. They're going to get to retire earlier. This is just one example. There's many moves that we make working with the teams that we talk about. Now, I'm going to go a little bit deeper on this and explain what I'm talking about in reference to leverage. If you finance, I'm going to use math that I know. It's simple and straightforward. So, of course, you can't buy a house for $100,000, but pretend you can. If you were to buy a $100,000 home, and if you financed it at 6% interest, okay, the note would be about $500 a month. You paid on it for 30 years, you would pay $216,000 principal and interest for that home, okay? So that's not too good. But then you have to think about what else is going on. If you paid that interest rate over that time, simple interest being paid down, if you had $100,000, you could have paid cash, but you chose on purpose not to. That $100,000 at only 4% compounding would grow to $324,000 over 30 years, okay? Now, why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because anytime you do one thing, it affects another thing. It's important that you work with a team that understands good debt versus bad debt and positioning. It's all about building systems that you can take advantage of the banks and not the other way around. See, I'm not working with the billionaires. They're part of the banks, okay? But middle America, okay, upper middle America, they get the brunt of this. And if they don't have a team working for them, Big Wham is going to take advantage of them, period. If some of this makes sense to you, feel free to email us at help@Capital Planning Team. You can work with the personal financial planning team that I personally built and use myself. I don't make a move on the chessboard without talking to them, okay? Because 3 or 4 heads are better than one. And that's what Todd's Help is all about. That's what Money Help is all about. Holistic economic life planning. So you can work with me as an individual. I work with a select group of people on their goals-based planning. And so that we could have a conversation about if that was something you were interested in. It doesn't cost you anything to talk to the financial planning team and get an introductory. When you do, you'll get a copy of my book. Of course, you could get it on Amazon, but you'll also get a free copy when you speak to a member of my financial planning team. So I'm going to leave you with 2 things, personal. One of them is I'm going to share a prayer with you that helps Todd's Help. It helps me a lot. It's something that I got from St. Padre Pio. And it's the shortest prayer I've ever heard. And basically it says, "Oh Jesus, I surrender myself to you. Take care of everything." So with that said, I'll leave you with Philippians 4:13 as always. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.